Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. Now, one thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. Today, we focus on a woman who has had a pretty rough journey in the last year. I'm sure you're all aware, Greens co-leader Marama Davidson was diagnosed with breast cancer in June 2024. She took immediate leave from Parliament for treatment. After 8 months off, Marama came back to work in early February, her first official business attending Waitangi. Marama Davidson, welcome and thank you so much for coming in today.
Tēnā koe, Paula. Thank you. I've been really excited about coming to have a kōrero with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm loving having you here. Okay, I'm going to warm us up with quick fire questions. What is top of your bucket list?
Doing the laundry, does that count?
No.
Okay.
No, that's and it's not in a bucket. So
it's not in a bucket. All right, okay.
Is there an overseas travel? Is there something exciting?
Getting to Hokianga. There you go. Home. Getting to Hokianga.
Because that is a magic.
Beautiful place and where I'm from.
Yeah.
So that's something that's on my mind all the time.
I visit quite a bit. My brother got married there and it was just that absolutely perfect day where you sat there and the women were in this most amazing sort of tangerine, if you like, and then you had that blue water and then those sand hills and then that blue sky.
My home, that's where I was privileged to grow up.
Oh. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I'm night. Night. I'm like up to 1 a.m. It's not cool, but that seems to be where my energy comes.
Oh, good on you. And if you could live anywhere in the world except New Zealand.
I already said Hokianga, okay.
Can't be New Zealand, where would it be?
Like Japan. Something completely different to what I'm used to.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you been?
No, I haven't, which is why.
Neither have I.
Yeah. Which is why I'm like, hey, let's try Japan. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to split this podcast into two parts, personal and politics. So we are going to talk a bit about your career and a bit on politics later on, but we do have to start on a personal level. Everyone's going to want to know, how are you?
Kei te ora tonu. I'm alive and well and really grateful, Paula, to be here because I looked, okay, you know what? I hope I get to be 80 and it's fine to look 80, but not when you're 50. Yeah. And that's what I felt like, just really old and unwell. And I looked like someone I've never seen before.
Yeah.
So I'm really good today and I'm really grateful.
Yeah. And so have you had a positive diagnosis, do you think? So has the treatment has done what it needed to do, if you like?
I am, in all respects, cancer-free right now.
Wow.
Yes. Amazing.
Isn't that just such the greatest sentence in the world?
You know what, Paula, for a long time I denied that I had cancer at all anyway. It sort of was busy. I was busy. I was like, excuse me, I'm too busy for cancer. Like, how dare?
Yeah.
How dare I get this diagnosis? I've got things to do. And so I actually denied the fact that if you let cancer grow, it can kill you. I wasn't coming to terms with that. So to be able to have gone through treatment, which saved my life, and be able to say, I'm well today and I'm cancer-free, massive blessing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you went public with it, had you been diagnosed quite some time before?
May,
Okay.
and I had to hold that to myself for quite some time.
Yeah.
I did the State of the Planet last year and I had been diagnosed about 4 days before I did my State of the Planet. And because I was having a rough time having to think about putting down the tools, that was rough. I was like, that to me felt like an impossibility. Like, what do you mean I have to stop doing what I love doing? What am I without doing this political mahi? And after the first surgery, which was July the 2nd, I very quickly realised, Marama, you can't work. You can't. You have to heal. This is going to be a journey that I didn't expect. And I got put on my ass, if you like, after the first surgery and then realised, no, I'm not working.
Yeah. It forced you to actually step it. And then actually the world does keep going without you.
Right. I was like, what do you mean the world keeps going without me? It does. But also, Paula, and I think you'll understand this, it wasn't just stopping work physically. I had to clear it out of my mind and allow for healing and whānau to be my only priority.
Yeah.
That was a tough transition, because for so long, and you know this, we sacrifice well-being and whānau. Sorry to say, it's not good, but we do. We don't put our well-being first. We don't put our whānau first. That's just how the job is. And then all of a sudden to transition, the only thing my body needs me to do right now is care for my well-being and my whānau. That was a bit of a freaky transition to have to come to terms with.
Yeah, because you've got 6 children, right? And grandchildren.
Yes.
So how did they cope with the sort of diagnosis and you having to go through that journey of wellness?
Bit of unknowing, a little bit of confusion. The 3 babies are the teenagers now.
Yeah.
They're 16, 17 and 19. And then our 3 older daughters are young women, obviously. A bit of a shock, but I reassured everyone, which my oncologist said I could do, which was to say, we've caught it early, we're going to be fine. So that's how I started out the conversation with everyone, just to give a bit of a sense of security. But do you know what, Paula? My tamariki and my mokopuna were my healing central.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
For real. Like, I spoke in my State of the Planet speech, just being able to have naps with the mokopuna. I've got a 10-month-old, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Oh, I'm so
delicious,
yeah.
delicious. And just being able to have nana naps with them, it just actually felt like they were healing. They were healing my body just as we rested. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's friends, right? And at some level as well, those friends in unexpected places. And you've talked about Nikki Kaye. I know. We were both there at her service, wasn't it lovely?
It was a fantastic night. I really enjoyed it.
I know. And
I was really honoured to be invited, actually.
Yeah. But her generosity.
Her generosity. So there I go. I gate crash one of her meetings over in Albany. She just thought, yep, Marama wants to have a catch-up, sure. And then I dropped the news on her, and she just stood up without words, immediately walked around the table to my side, gave me the biggest, longest hug. I think in a way she was sort of saying, oh, holy shit, Marama, I'm sorry, because she knew what was about to be in store. And then she stayed in contact with me. We stayed in contact with swapping Netflix recommendations, book recommendations. Nice. She kept checking in on how I was going, sharing advice about our bodies and what they're needing. I always had a relationship with her, always, but to have had that time to know her in an even more personal way in those last months of her life is a privilege that I will carry with me forever. And on the morning that I found out she had passed, I wasn't expecting to be rocked by that news the way that I did. My husband watched me tell him and then promptly take myself to bed for the rest of the day. Day's gone, we're cancelling the day, I'm done, I'm going to bed. I feel depressed and sad, and then I pulled myself together and just remembered she had a beautiful life and she loved her life, and that's what helps me.
Yeah, and she lived it. So she not only, of course, understood that cancer journey and what some of that treatment would be like, but equally she understood what it's like to have to do it publicly.
Oh, that was the thing.
Yeah. So how did you kind of cope with that, and what was your sort of, what's your reckoning?
I'm going to say that the reason why I went to Nikki early, she knew before my husband, she knew before any of my children, she knew before a lot of my MPs, nearly all of my MPs, because of the fact of doing it publicly. I went straight to her. She was a minister for the Crown at the time she was diagnosed, and I was a co-leader. And the advice was that I got from Nikki was precisely around balancing that. And it was about asking for the media to leave me in peace while I go through treatment, but giving them that stand up at the start so they could ask their questions. They got their chance. I was open and honest about what was happening, and then they left me in peace, and I really appreciated that.
And how have the public been then in their reaction? Because that's what Nikki would say. She'd say, people would just come up to me in the airport and in the street and just look me in the eye. And she said, I actually just felt like I had this extra bit of love and around.
Do you know what, Paula? It really highlighted for me when times are tough, people band together. We gravitate towards each other. We need to be caring for people when we know that people are struggling, and it was beautiful. And goodness gracious, someone knitted me a pair of beautiful socks. Like, that's love. Got sent cookies. It's all just love, and that's what our country is. And that's the stuff that I really respected.
And so, I mean, it's brave of you to stand up. You don't get to step away from Parliament.
Yeah. So you got to fill the hole.
Yeah, so you got to. Yeah. But I mean, mine completely different, but even with my weight loss surgery and things like that, I actually got it in my head that I thought it was a privilege that I get to actually share what's something that's actually quite difficult, and that other people are sitting there. And I mean, the Breast Cancer Foundation have come out and said, God, after you coming out, so many, and particularly Māori women
get screened.
Yeah. Because Māori women have got such worse statistics with breast cancer. And so your voice was so powerful.
Responsibility. When you have a platform, I felt an immediate responsibility to do the best I could to uphold the work that Nick's doing, and encouraging all women to get screened, and especially Māori women who are below in our screening rates, was the least I needed to do with my public platform, and having a privilege of getting some cut through somehow. I felt that was the least I could do, but also like we're public figures. People think we've got all our shit together every second of the day. Actually allowing ourselves to be human and a bit scared and a bit vulnerable is also really important.
When you announced your diagnosis, you certainly said that you were privileged to have access to the kind of care, and that not everyone has the same access to support. What did you mean by that?
I went through the public system, and that I don't have private health insurance, so it was really good being able to experience the incredible health workers through the public system. But what I actually meant, Paula, was, gosh, I was thinking about women with young children.
Yeah.
I was thinking about women not in supportive, loving relationships, and even worse, dangerous and violent relationships. Yeah. I was thinking about women without financial security, without a home, for crying out loud, just some basic stuff. I was thinking about women who were stressing about whether they could pay the bills. What I know is that we can actually have a country where our people can put their health first, not have... I was hearing from teachers who were like going through chemo, and then you've got such low immunity, and they were like, I can't stop working because I'm not going to be able to support myself, but I'm with schools are germ places, they're germy places. I was like, you know what? I am privileged to be able to stop and focus on my health and my well-being. Not everyone has that.
No, that's right.
We can, but not everyone does at the moment, and that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
okay. No, that makes sense to me. And as you say, you just don't know what's going on for people.
Exactly.
And not having that level of support and whānau and, is really tough. So you're back at work.
Yeah.
How is it?
Far
is
out.
it just... Did you have to take that time to get your head back in the game?
I'm still getting my head back in the game. I went from such an enclosed, safe, healing bubble of whānau and mokopuna for months and months, not talking to media ever, barely going out, if you don't count grocery shopping, barely going out, to all of a sudden talking to media every single day, several times a day, in all the crowds, and Waitangi was my big back to work. And what a way to go back, and just being at Waitangi for Waitangi Week on the ground, and the positivity and hope and kotahitanga working together, that was the vibe of feeling from people. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful way to come back to work. But this job, I remember going back to my MPs on a Zoom just before Christmas, and I had a lot of time to reflect on the difference from where I had just spent months to all the many years of the work. And I remember saying to my MPs, have you fellas seen your jobs? they're really hard. Have you seen your job? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm loving being back at work.
Are you? I was going to ask that. Did you consider not coming back?
I think through chemo, when I got quite sick. I think I got every side effect possible.
Oh, did you?
I think so. And some that weren't possible.
Because people have different experiences.
Everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. Yeah.
You know, I've had it explained to me, it's almost like the curve, you know, and that most people are in the middle. Yeah. Some people have very few symptoms and then some people seem to hit everything.
Be targeted with all the symptoms, all the side effects. So when you're at your lowest, and you can barely get out of bed, that's when I'm like, I'm never going to be able to go back to work. I have to function at 1,000%. Right now, I'm functioning at 5%. How on earth am I ever going to be able to go back to that job? But that was an indicator of how I was feeling at the time. Eventually, when I got well, I was like, actually, I'm seeing what's going on and I want to be part of it again.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And we're going to talk a bit more about some of that because I'd really like to. So to end this segment, any advice for women out there? This is an advice podcast, so you're allowed to... So you caught it through screening, didn't you?
It was through regular screening, and I only went and started regular screening because of the work of breast cancer Aotearoa and advocacy agencies who were like, tut, Marama, you're behind. And I was like, shoot, I am. So they set that fire, Marama, go get it sorted. And so in the second screening, it got caught. My advice to anyone going through any health condition, any health struggle, actually, ask for help. So through chemo particularly, I'm sitting there suffering, feeling really sick, or any number of things happening. We've been conditioned to think that we've got to tough it out. We have. We're just like, just put up with it.
Yeah.
And the nurses and the oncologists are constantly saying, no, you don't have to tough it out. We can help. And so hearing that helped me, and I'm hoping that anyone out there who is having a rough time, there is help.
Yeah.
I was supplied with nurses' numbers to phone and call. I was phoning them every day.
Yeah.
And what do you know? There was help to help me feel a little bit more comfortable. So I just want to encourage people, we all get stuck in the place of, this is just how it is, I have to put up with it. You don't. Please, people are so ready to help.
And you don't know what other medications there are out there and all the rest of it. You know, I had one of my girls and she went through major surgery with her jaw, right? And so she's literally wide shut and things. And so I was nursing her daily and trying to get food, and she just couldn't eat. She was so scared she was going to throw up. And so we sort of went through, 3 days, and then the surgeon rang and I said, well, actually, we're really struggling. He was so cross with me. He was like,
told me earlier.
You should have told me 3 days ago, because now I can do this and I can do that and I can, and it was a good lesson for me. I just thought,
for me too.
This is how bad it is and we've just got to soldier on. And I mean, I was doing that to my then 18-year-old,
We do it though. We do it, right?
Yeah.
I want to mention and acknowledge the breast cancer community, the online pages and the websites. Some of the best advice was from other cancer survivors and people going through treatment.
Yeah.
And going onto those pages and just reading all the advice from all the different threads, oh my gosh, so helpful. So again, another example of there are people out there who want to help, ask for help.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Marama, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to chat about your career. 10 years
far out.
in Parliament this year.
Yeah.
That's quite something.
Kia ora.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Ask Me Anything. And today I have Green co-leader Marama Davidson with me, which I'm absolutely rapt about. So I was right, 10 years.
November.
This year. Wow. And you joined as a list MP, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
So how would you sum up or describe those 10 years?
Challenging. Incredible privilege. What a job.
How was it when you first went in?
Scary.
Because it's weird, eh?
I had come from a background of grassroots activism, and then going into Parliament is a whole different world, whole different culture. And I got to say, a level of privilege that I just could barely dream of. What an incredible job. What a deep privilege. And the fact that I could come back to it after treatment, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
So how would I describe it?
Yeah.
No 2 days are the same. No 2 hours are really the same. The stuff I'm still learning, and the people and places you get to meet and go to. What I have never been to Nelson so many times in my life. Greens love Nelson.
Yeah.
And I had never been to Nelson before, ever. And so getting to see this country and even a little bit of the world through this job, getting to meet people, remarkable.
Are people you wouldn't have got to meet otherwise?
Never. And stories from people. Yeah.
If we were allowed to choose New Zealand, I'm quite funny, particularly after my time as an MP, I would just say to my husband, I just think I love everywhere.
Yeah.
And he'd go, and he goes, you must go in. And I say, well, I think I'm kind of privileged that when I go and visit, I get to see the best of it. You know what I mean?
I do.
And I meet the most interesting people that are doing most amazing community work.
Yeah.
And so you just fall in love, every day with the people and our towns and our villages. And
our people on the ground in communities, they are us. They are who Aotearoa is. And it is their beautiful work on the ground, their beautiful work for caring for their communities and for their place is what inspires me to keep being a politician. Yeah. They're just beautiful examples of
So that's what you like. What don't you like?
Oh, the hours.
Yeah.
The pressure. I got to say, there are so many nights where you go to sleep or you don't go to sleep because, oh man, I effed that sentence up. It's, oh man, I really stuffed that interview up, or, oh, that speech wasn't as good as I would like. Oh no, I've got so-and-so after me publicly. The public pressure is, there are barely any words, and I love talking to someone who understands this intimately. There are barely any words to describe what it's like to sustain that pressure. And I actually think that I'm coming back to work knowing that the only way, because let's face it, Paula, the pressure of that work has harmed some MPs from across the whole entire House, all political parties. The pressure of that place has actually left MPs and their families harmed in some way. And I think the only way we can sustain this is to balance a bit better, is to put our well-being and our health, our mental health first.
And when you're in there, you have to be so strong. Well, I certainly felt, before Jacinda really, she did change it for us a bit, I think, and made it kind of okay to be a bit more human.
Yeah.
But before that, it was like, gosh, if you showed any weakness or you said, I'm struggling a bit.
Absolutely.
The public can be amazing. They can be cruel too.
Real cruel. Real cruel.
And so you kind of had to, if anyone asked you, you had to go, no, I'm great. Like every day's good. And
really, you've just been crying in the bathroom or...
Yeah.
I have had to take things a lot less personally than when I started out. I used to read every comment and take it to heart, and you have to rise above a lot of that. You have to take honest criticism from the places that matter to you, from the people who put you into power in the first place, and that ability to endure those attacks requires you to stay grounded. That might be the bush, that might be getting enough sleep, that might be cuddles with the mokopuna. Whatever it is, I think we can all benefit from balancing the stress of the job a bit better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I use humour a lot, but, someone, I remember someone sort of saying to me, I just don't like you. And I said, well, I just don't care, And they went, well, you do, And I went, oh, you don't know me, you know what I mean? Like, exactly. So I really don't care.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, and I said, no, there's people that do know me that don't like me. That's more valuable.
That's right. And I still do bring myself down when the people who I think are supposed to be supporting me can be quite cruel as well. So with you, it's really tough. I don't even know if I've crunched this one, to be honest. I don't know if I'm any good at it still, but I constantly have to bring myself above the discouragement when I'm down because people are critiquing my work and it's not as good as it should be. And then you've got to think, Marama, get up and go and try again. It's real hard, but it's just something you've got to do.
And sometimes your own core supporters can be the
cruelest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of a bit like a sibling, you know what I mean? Like,
totally.
I can be angry with you, but goodness help anyone else that does, sort of thing. But, I can...
Well, let's put that into perspective, because... There, and you and I have both, sadly, and I don't think this should be normalised, have been subject to death threats and violence threats at times. And I could have that. I could have someone being quite violent and yucky. but their comment personally wouldn't affect me as much as someone giving a critique who is supposed to be a supporter or leaving me feel just really discouraged about my job. So there is that element of taking yourself seriously, and when the people who are supposed to support you are not quite happy with you, that can actually cut quite hard.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You know, I could have, 6 cruel comments about my weight in a day, because that's just, unfortunately,
dumb.
people just use that physical to try and, knock you down
Not
when they
cool.
don't like your politics or they don't like something. And then I can still remember it, like walking in and it was supporters, and they didn't mean it even, but, out comes the national lady and she pats me on the bottom and goes, well, we need to do something about that.
Oh.
Now that hurt more than any of those other things.
Of course it's gonna,
It's like...
We all know what that's like from our closest.
Yeah,
Totally.
so it can be. Okay, so it's been a really rough 18 months for the Greens.
Yes, it has.
Right?
Yeah,
just with FSO, and I'm going to talk about him a bit more. And Golra's resigning, the departures of Elizabeth, Kirikiri and Darlene Tana, with some of that Julianne stuff, and you being away as well. So did you remove yourself from all of that and just and Chloe was relatively new in the
she's
role.
like 5 seconds in the job.
I know, and then
her co-leader gets breast cancer, and we're still working through scandals and things that were really rocky to get through, and so I was in surgeries still having to deal with some of it. I got taken to the Supreme Court. This is out publicly. We got taken to the Supreme Court, Chloe and I as co-leaders, during the Darling stuff. I literally was out of surgery the same day and still dealing with some of that sort of stuff. During chemo, still signing affidavits.
And Chloe would have needed your support, wouldn't she?
The whole team. So I didn't want to have to be involved, but sometimes you just got to do. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You just had to do some stuff. But for the most part, my team were really clear: get the hell out of Dodge, Marama. Your job. This is what they told me. Your only job, your most important job to help us, Marama, is to get better.
Yeah.
Putting it like that, I actually felt a responsibility then. I was like, actually, the best I can do for the team is to focus on getting well. So when I eventually could remove myself, yes, I did.
So where is the Green Party at the moment? Rebuilding?
Yes, absolutely. We've come through a heck of a year, and I'm coming back, and I know that the team are like, we're so happy to have you back. It's like, Mama's back,
Yeah.
It's a bit of that. I realise I'm...
Well, 10 years experience.
I'm the experienced co-leader. I'm the experienced MP in the caucus. So a lot of my focus is going to be on that rebuilding, my particular focus. There are MPs that I wasn't even in. I was off leave and we had Benjamin join. So there are MPs who I still haven't been in caucus with for very long. Yeah. Francisco had only just become an MP. So we are still focusing on that rebuilding, but also the community, our collective focus is on that community power where our gold is and forming and building and strengthening those relationships across our communities. That's a focus.
Because we've all had tough years. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying not to relive mine because it honestly
trauma.
PTSD
No,
as a deputy leader and dealing with stuff within the party. It was just, would be one of the hardest years of my life, to be really honest. Yeah. But at some level, and I suppose you coming back in this new year, you can kind of go, I'm here, it's a refresh, let's go. Let's park it. We've done it. You've gone, sometimes you've waded through the hell. Yeah. And we're still standing.
I was so proud of the team, even with everything. They got out there, they got out to communities, they still put up the questions to the Prime Minister, doing the opposition job, advocacy. Ricardo has just managed to get a stay against the deportation for Aman Kumar, still doing the mahi. I'm really proud that even with all of that, so I'm like, okay, imagine what we could be like without all of the other distraction and scandal stuff. Imagine, and that's where our focus, we're so excited about getting out across the country and focusing our relationship building work and uplifting that community power.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you were co-leader with James Shaw for a long time.
My whole, were we 6 or 7 years together? Yeah.
So what's it like going in a partnership with someone new like Chloe?
I love the co-leadership model because it was designed to have two very different people. That's what its whole purpose is. Two different people, different experiences, different communities that we come from. It was the same with James, and it's exactly the same with Chloe. Look, our caucus is used to the fact that Chloe is a phenomenon. Sometimes we forget how much of a phenomenon because we're so used to it. She's ours.
Yeah.
But she's an absolute powerhouse, and being able to work with her and being able... I feel a little bit like a proud auntie, I have to say. That's very matronising of me. But being able to support someone to grow in their political career is one of the most worthwhile fruits of this work, and I love working together. Yeah.
Hey, I mentioned Efeso Collins before, and it's just gone a year.
It has
since he passed. Man, what he did. So let's celebrate his life, because what he did, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
In that Pacifica and that South Auckland and everything. But you can't help but be sad at the shock of it, but equally what he could have done. He just did so much. I was so excited with him getting into Parliament. I just thought, if that place doesn't eat you alive, you're going to do amazing community work through there. I
selfishly still feel ripped off.
Yeah.
And I do feel selfish about that because I feel ripped off firstly for Fia and his daughters. What a father, what a husband. And then I feel massively ripped off for his political leadership. I can't help. People across the house loved him for a reason. He just loved people. He was better than me. He had a genuine love for everyone. He could work with people from all sorts of backgrounds. And his maiden speech 4 or 5 days before he died is a legacy for centuries. His maiden speech leaves us with a focus on no one stands alone, no one suffers alone, no one succeeds alone. And we are gonna stand by his words. But I think we're still getting over that trauma, if I'm quite honest. As a caucus, we all went to his urupa in Mangere on the day after his first year anniversary and just sat, sang stories, tears, laughter. I actually think, and then through all the busyness of Parliament, did we really get a chance to sit and just acknowledge our own grief and trauma? Probably not. No. So we're still working through that. A beautiful human.
Yeah, and then you're just dealing with the day-to-day and it just gets in. So taking those moments, I think, to reflect and remember and talking about them.
And taking the moments to realise you've hidden some sadness deep in there. We've hidden it a bit. We've tried to get on with the work and actually allowing ourselves to... Because it goes back to what you were saying. We do have to steel ourselves in this work. It's part of the job. That means you can push down some really important releases that we're supposed to have as humans. So taking a moment to create that space, all of us coming together, all 15 MPs sitting on the grass by his graveside was such a healing moment in time. And we realised, heck, we need to give ourselves space to just be sad and it's okay. Yeah.
So here we go. How are you feeling about politics in the world at the moment? I mean, your party, your politics are kind of at the left for us here in New Zealand, the most left. And you can see the world in some respects moving to that right, and there's some crazy stuff going on. And how are you feeling about it all?
Even if we don't have to call it left and right, what I see around the world that really scares me is a ramping up of people being pitted against each other and people who are struggling. When people who don't have enough income to support their whānau are pitted against trans people or black people or women, actually we all need to be working together to build power where we can all live with dignity. And what concerns me is there's far too many leaders across the world who are exploiting those vulnerabilities and setting us against each other when we are not each other's enemies. And that's where the Greens will keep focusing. When I talked about community, it is uniting people that will be our priority. We saw that on the Hikoi Mō Te Tiriti, people from all backgrounds coming together to say Aotearoa is about people's taking care of each other and our planet. That's such a beautiful vision for our country to be built on. Let's protect that, and let's show the examples of generations now of Māori and non-Māori working together beautifully, whether it's to save and restore a wetland or to restore the marae so it can look after people, including in times of crisis. We have now got generations of those examples of tangata whenua and non-Māori working together, and people want to protect that legacy. And so Aotearoa can be a point of difference to the world, is what I believe. We can show that bringing people together and knocking down the fear by having relationship based on good faith is what will help us combat the destructive power of people pitting us against each other.
That destructive divisiveness is just absolutely terrifying. And, you know, I was speaking to an American woman the other day, and I said to, you know, she was in New Zealand, and I said to her, how are you? And she said, to be honest, my kids and my wife are not that good. You know, they're sitting there going, are we next?
Yeah,
you know,
right.
taking away fertility rights, taking away women's health rights, taking away, you know, and as you say, the transgender, that, you know, she said, my kids sit there and go, you know, mama, they're coming for us next. You know, like, and she said it's a genuine fear for them.
It is a real fear.
You know, and whether it's real or not is it's irrelevant because it's real for them, right?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, like
their fear is real.
Yeah, their fear is real.
Yeah, their fear
and
is
it just does get you, you know, it really set me on my ass, to be honest.
Me too.
You know, and hearing it directly from her, I just thought, wow, we are lucky in New Zealand, but we need to fight to hold it.
A good friend who is currently living in the United States shared that her child is transgender, and they literally fear for her safety. They fear for her life, and just, well, how about just being able to enjoy being in your own neighbourhood as who you are? And that did sit me on my ass too, because I am privileged to have children who are not considered trans and who haven't identified themselves as trans. So at least they have that level of acceptance in the world. And I'm like, imagine feeling like your child is going to be unsafe. I've heard black mamas in America talk about that previously over years as well, when it felt like black young men particularly were being targeted.
Sons,
And I thought, oh, what would that be like? Thinking your son is not safe every time he walks out the door. We can show the world that there is a way to live safely and not live in fear. And that's something I do reckon we'll hold on to that. I have hope, Paula.
I do too.
Yeah.
I actually really do. I think that we are lucky and that we have got something, and that doesn't mean we won't have our differences.
No, that's right.
And things will happen, but equally I think we're a powerful voice.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, within our communities, within our politics actually.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Like, people don't hate in that place.
That's
you know,
right,
like,
we can have differences. That's not the issue ever. When we move into violent hate or fear of each other, that is where it's unsafe.
Yeah, I agree. What are you most passionate about at the moment? Come on, what's the causes? I mean, well, you've just talked about some of those values, I think, more, that are just so important. But is there a cause out there at the moment that you're...
Oh, there are many. I do want to acknowledge the prevention violence work that continues to happen, and I do want to talk about actually successive governments have tried to do really good things to bring together a joined up approach to eliminating and preventing violence. So joining up community departments, joining up government departments, joining up community organisations and NGOs together. we've tried in different ways to do that. I was privileged as Minister of Prevention Violence to launch Te Aurere Kura as another step on from successive government's work to try and join us up even more. I want to continue to support Minister Karen Shaw in that current role. I really want to honour the work that NGOs particularly and Kaupapa Māori and Pasifika-led organisations are doing with prevention violence work because they know what works.
Yeah.
And I will continue to support their evidence, their experiences, and help any government see that that's where our resource and our support can absolutely go.
Yeah, good on you. Well, I wish you every bit of success in that because it's some of the most important mahi you'll ever do.
Thank you.
Okay, to end the segment, I would love to know what is the best advice you were ever given and by whom?
I still live by it. And it was from Me Tiria Tūrei before I became an MP. And it was as I was considering becoming an MP. She said, Marama, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
And the minute I stop myself and remember that, I'm like, actually do my best. Do my best and carry on. So I offer that.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Okay, the podcast is called Ask Me Anything, Marama, and so far I've done all the asking. So this is your opportunity to turn the tables if you'd like to.
Love it. I hope you don't mind me asking. I have such, my mokopuna are my healing. So I was going to ask you, how are your mokopuna?
Well, my cup is about to be all full up because they live in Darwin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so my daughter and my three grandchildren, but the granddaughter's turning 18.
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
You rocking hot young nana.
Yeah. And so I said to her, what do you want for your birthday? And she said, I want you and Mum and not my brothers.
I get that.
To get our makeup done, our hair done, and go and buy a new outfit and then stay in a hotel. So
sounds glorious.
I am off to Darwin. You would be incredibly proud of my daughter, Marama. I'm just going to be a little bit braggy.
Okay.
So she heads family violence for Darwin. She's a chief executive.
I am proud.
Yeah, me too.
Brilliant.
Too. Yeah. So she's an amazing, she's worked here with Pacifica mainly at the Whānau, and then she went to Darwin and worked for Mission Australia. And then,
give her my love and kia kaha to her.
Yeah. So November last year at the age of 37, she became the chief executive and is now an advisor to the council and doing,
that's beautiful.
And not just Darwin, actually doing quite a lot more in the Northern Territory.
I am proud.
So, yeah, me too.
Yeah, great. Yeah. That's beautiful.
So I'm very, so I get to.
Look at us nanas just sitting here having a little chin wag.
So there you go. Marama Davidson, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story. And I just know that it's going to be powerful for so many people to hear it. Look after yourself. Thank you. Yeah. So you've had some lessons taught to you in the last 12 months.
Time.
So you have a job to listen to your body. But it's great to see you back in Parliament and keep doing that work for our people. Because it doesn't matter what stripe or what colour. Actually, that's what's most important.
Kia ora. I've loved this so much. Kia ora.
Good on you. Thank you. So that's another episode of Ask Me Anything. If you've enjoyed this episode, please follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you check out some of our past guests. While you're there, I'll be back next Sunday with another fabulous guest for you all. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.